Hey there. Well, welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday, everybody. We're kind of at a new time today. I know it's a little different than our normal evening time, but hey, I welcome everybody here. My name's Ken Close. I'm a Healy World member USA, just like most of you guys. And my amazing co-host is Jake Barron, Head of Operations for Americas in Orlando. Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hey Ken, welcome everybody. And from our tech support team here, we have the amazing Anthony helping out in the chat on today's call. So yeah, we'll be answering questions live, but also Anthony's going to be helping as well in the chat.
Yeah, so everybody get a chance in there in the chat. Say hello to Anthony, and thank you so much for being here. Our technical department is busy crew, and they're taking their time to be here with you. So thanks for being here. For you guys that are brand new to Tech Tip Tuesday, let's just kind of go over what we do here. This is a chat-based forum where you put your questions in the chat, and Jake and I and Anthony will unpack those questions. We'll do our very best to answer, solve, and demystify the mystical, right, of Healy. So that's kind of what we're doing here. For what we can't do is, or what we don't do is that we don't talk about any kind of treatments, diagnosis, prevention, or any medical terminology around what Healy can or can't do. We also don't really talk about the back office. That's kind of a business side. This is more around the technical things, the operations, any of the logic of how Healy works, if you guys want to put it that way. My background is in electronics engineering, so we do dive deeply into some of the technology. So with that said, how about we get this party started?
Sounds great.
All right. So, and by the way, guys, I mean, we got a little bit fewer folks than we normally do. That's okay. But if there is no content in the chat, we will definitely make stuff up and have a conversation, because there's so many cool things that are evolving right now with Healy, with the beta testing of the new HealAdvisor app. I mean, this is some good stuff, right, Jake?
Yeah, if you missed our Healy for Beginners and Beyond last week, definitely go check out that recording on our YouTube page at HealyAmericas.com. We gave a little sneak peek into some of the cool new features of the Analyze 2 app, which is launching here in the near future. And then also we did kind of an overview of the newer features in the updated Healy Academy that launched last week as well. So lots of new stuff going on here at Healy, and lots of new stuff to come as well here soon.
You know, that's what I love about this. Well, I mean, I still look at Healy as kind of a new company, a new startup, because it's still relatively in its infancy stage. And as far as the technology, it's totally in its infancy stage, because there's really nobody else ever out there that's been able to do this. So, so we have a lot of room to explore here, folks, and we do this a lot. Yeah. So here's a question. We got something coming in. Can Healy make the apps so they can run programs automatically at a set date and time? So that's a great thing, because yeah, so with our HealAdvisor search module, there's certain things we can schedule, right? And Healy already does give you reminders, right? So if you have this system turned on and you've got a certain schedule set up, you'll get reminders on your phone to start a specific program. And then what do? Hit the start button, right? And it'll actually start those microcurrent programs. So that is already there. If you're not familiar with that, that is in the HealAdvisor search app. There's some cool stuff you can do with that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I mean, of course, the most convenient would be if somehow you could set it to be, okay, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, Healy, turn on my phone, open my app, turn on my Healy device, connect, automatically put on the wristband and go for it.
And get me a cup of tea, will you?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love this. It's a great question. We're not making fun of you, bro.
It's, yeah, as Ken mentioned, yeah, there is the reminder option available within the HealAdvisor app itself. And maybe if we have time on this call, I can open that up and kind of show here how exactly you do set those reminders, but you can customize that really as much as you want. But yeah, it is up to you to actually start the program, turn on your Healy, that kind of thing, as well. As of right now, who knows what's possible in the future though. So,
Hey, I love the possibilities. We've come a long way already. So, thank you for suggestions. And there is a spot within the customer service portal in which you can put these suggestions, right? Where it winds up being part of a formula or part of a resource pool for further development. So definitely please put those in there as well. Okay, here's another one. I love this one. How do you know how long to vibrate a program on the Analyze? So essentially we're talking about the Blue Dot or the HealAdvisor Analyse app, right? How long do you know, or how long should you run this stuff? And there's a great, we referred to this before. There is a great video within the Academy. It's actually designed around the coaching module, but the coaching module, the aura analysis, and the resonance analysis all really operate within the same realm, within the same field of theory and technology. So what applies to one applies to all. And so you can take a look at that within that Academy. We've put that in some of our other calls here. And that recording again is on that YouTube page, but there is a link. Let's see. It's probably already getting put in there. Oh, let's see. I'm just looking to see what kind of feedback is being set in the background here. But in that Healy Academy, if you look up coaching, then there is a video in there. It talks a lot about the theory and the concept. Now, that being said, I constantly advocate for one being aware of their own body, right? So there's things you can do as an individual, right? This is just Healy's recommendations. The manufacturer has to make recommendations to keep people safe. So because of studies, because of experience, and because of that's the development that Healy is building, but we have the final say in our own health. So, by testing the theories or your own theories around time, how long should you run it? In quantum physics, within the information field, I want everyone to understand that where Healy's operating is from the below the molecular level, at the electron level, right? Down all the way down to the infinite energetic space. And when you shift energy within the quantum field, it's omnipresent and instantaneous. Okay, in other words, it goes everywhere and instantly. So when the advisor comes up with some necessity for you, here's a group of frequencies, and you decide to vibrate them into your field, or AKA the client. You're the client, or whatever the intention is, the target for this information, for these frequencies, and all frequencies are information. All right. That information gets upregulated into your blueprint or the client's blueprint in a second, in a millisecond, instantaneously. Okay. So now the problem is that information is in the field, but it has to get through our consciousness. It's our consciousness that's created the decay in this body in the first place, or AKA the need for Healy in the first place. So continuing to rain down that vibrational signal, those frequencies onto you, is a great asset, but your mind needs to be on board with the healing. Okay. And then you pay attention to the body, let the body speak to you, listen to it, rest it, use your healing or self-care modalities, hydration, movement, breath, grounding, all those pieces, and let this healing begin. All right. Does that make sense to anybody? All right. Hope so.
yeah, actually, while you were doing that, I pulled up the video in Academy. So let me just share. I'll put the link in there too. But yeah, for those of you that, we mentioned earlier, but was a brand new academy that launched on April 3rd. And if you just go to the same link to log in, academy.healy.world, you use the same login information to log into Academy that you do for back office, for shop, for any of the Healy apps as well. But once you go in there, go to the top here, go underneath products, go to coach modules, and then from there, you'll scroll down here, and there's a video specifically on this right here, transmission duration at Healy Coach. And as Ken mentioned, the coach, the aura module, the resonance module, they all live in the Analyze app because they're all connected and operate in a similar way. And you see here from the description, this is we distinguish between the subconscious and conscious topics and explain the most important differences in how long you should use an analysis result for harmonization in the information field. And then if you watch this video, we'll just scroll to, this is the part that most people are looking for right here. It talks about conscious for subconscious and how long, some of these different durations, you know, run it more often for a shorter period of time for conscious, or less frequently, but longer periods of time for the subconscious topic. So that's a good guide for anyone looking for information. Of course, as Ken mentioned, you know, it's again up to you, and there's a huge range in the Analyze app from fractions of a second to hours. So, but this is a good place to start until you kind of can see how it affects you.
100%. We are the responsible party in the end, right? In the end, it's up to us. All right. Let's see. Here's another, also a script, also a scripting language to connect with apps.
I think that's related to that topic of can the Healy be set to automatically start at a certain time. So not right now, but you know, hey, anything's possible in the future. So
yeah, keep rolling these suggestions in, because you know those Healy is for us. All right. Let's see. So Nicolai says that there's a technical question. Sometimes when I'm getting my Healy started and it's syncing with my phone, the software won't let me select a program. It keeps going back to the line item list of databases. I've already tried uninstalling the app and reinstalling it. Is there a different Healy software that I am not aware of? I also mentioned, it also mentions a master key is still saved in my phone. Okay. Yes. And okay. So there are new updates. We're looking at a couple things here. If we're looking at the HealAdvisor versus the microcurrent or Healy app, the Healy app is brand new. We have a brand new Healy app that is the one that looks like right above me. It's called Healy 2, right above me, right here. That one is the one that runs all the microcurrent or what we call IMF programs, right? That one runs it, and it's going to be more reliable. And I highly recommend we convert over to that. Again, that is, if that's what you're referencing, line items, because again, those are the different pages, right? They're shown up as like line item kind of things. If we're talking about the analysis page, the blue app, and it's asking you for a master key. Now that's a clue, because there is a newer version of the system that doesn't ask you for a master key. When you log in or attempt to log in, it's going to send you a code, right? And that goes to your email process. Now you do need to make sure you have, here's my recommendation. You've uninstalled and reinstalled the app. So that means if you did that recently, within the last month, you've got the latest version. So if it's still asking you for a master key, it may do that one more time, but it shouldn't do that anymore. Okay. So anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No, I mean, it sounds like what she's describing is that issue that was solved with the Healy 2 app that you mentioned, where it kind of loops back to the main menu. You open up, say, Gold Cycle, want to click Pure, but instead of running pure, it takes you back to the main menu of all the gold cycle, and it's all that. So that, yeah, like you mentioned, downloading that new app and using that one exclusively would solve that issue.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the master key is not related to that particular issue. So.
Yeah, the different app, like I said, the master key thing is around the blue app, right? The HealAdvisor Analyse app, and the line item situation, or the reset kind of back to the main menu, that's relative to the pink app or the IMF Healy 2 program. Healy versus Healy 2, and those are both, these are right here above my shoulders, if you can see my pictures here. The old pink dot, what we're calling the pink dot, had that little circle right there, and then the new Healy 2 app is this one with this wavy line, and the new blue app, the new Analyze app, is going to have this same pictured format, but it's blue as opposed to this pink color, and that's the one that's in beta testing right now. It's coming, and I'm super excited about how it works.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we got? Jan's making a statement, something around 3 to 4. Okay, it is recommended to run no more than 3 to 4 microcurrent programs with the Healy. True. Are there suggested limits for how many programs per day using the Coil? With the MagHealy, the Atmosphere programs can be run indefinitely, yeah, which is its design. Would running other MagHealy programs numerous times over a day be okay? I know you suggested being our own experiment. So yeah, so here's the key. When we're running the Coil uses magnetic energy, just like the Healy, the MagHealy does, uses magnetic energy. It converts these frequencies to an information that's sent out on a magnetic carrier, or it's a magnetic emission. Best known in the technical world as EMF, right? How many people have a shiver when I say that? EMF is not a bad thing. It is just the way in which information is transmitted magnetically, electromagnetic force. So much puts out some sort of a electromagnetic force, and including nature. All right, so there's natural forces as well. Healy converts its information into this magnetic wave and then sends it out via the Healy transmitter or sensor within the Healy itself, and the MagHealy does that. The MagHealy has it has a little bit bigger range because it's of its power emission, or its design. It's designed to have a bit bigger envelope. When you connect the Coil to the Healy, it does that as well. It has an envelope of magnetic energy it's sending out, a little bit smaller radius, but that's the point. It's individualized. So how often can you run those? There really isn't, so much as suggestions, right? Once a day. But how many? There are suggestions. Healy makes suggestions because manufacturers need to put some parameter on things, right? Or it gets used for too many things that we don't know about. But again, you are the sole entity that's responsible for how you feel. So give it a shot, give it a test. I did that a lot, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, and it's tricky because it's so there's not one, especially with microcurrent and the Coil and the MagHealy, all these things combined. Just like how there's no, if someone were to ask you, hey Ken, how many microcurrent programs do you run per day? You could say, I don't know, maybe I run a little bit more than the normal recommendation in certain situations, but, or Ken, what percent do you run your programs at? Well, it's not relevant to you what percent Ken runs his programs at too, because he might be running it on the high current setting at 100%, and that works best for him. But someone else, their optimal might be low current setting at 25%. So it's as you've explained just now and again many times, it's really, you have to go with how you feel yourself and what feels right for you.
The uniqueness of these human bodies, each one of us has a genetic coding system, right? Everyone has their own fingerprint. And again, this is the beauty of what Healy does, is when Healy is connected to you, whether it's the coil, and remember, it's still connected to its proximity. When you're running the coil, it's connected to the environment, the proximity in which it's physically in. So if it's on your body, you are within the field of proximity. And Healy is taking and sending out a signal and then also reading the environment. So it's similar to what you're connected to with the leads. It's running that microcurrent through the body and then looking at the resonance and adjusting according to the body it's connected to. Same with the coil. It's adjusting based to the environment it's orbiting within. So if you have a pet on your lap, or a grandchild or a child or a spouse or a girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, whatever, if you have someone you're embracing and you're running that coil, it's also taking into account that entity, that body, and those frequencies are being adjusted. So when I'm running it on me, it's going to be unique to me. And my body operates different than yours. I know this because we have genetic coding. We have different energies. Every code within your body is energy in its finite form. It's energy. And energy is only separated by frequency. So every source of energy is unique. And so that's how I know that we are different. All right. All right, so I see that there's some dialogue back and forth around under the stimulation program. What do the Roman numerals stand for? Okay, so we've had to be a little more compliant, right? I remember the early version of this stimulation page actually had labels, right? And in other countries, they did. I think it's starting to standardize even from demographic to demographic, but the Roman numerals stand for just what the program is designed to do. And you can kind of look at the picture. Now, I haven't looked at the owner's manual today. And in that shows these Roman numerals.
Yeah, but they're actually not, the pain stimulation group is not even in that manual because that is considered the med version of all the other ones are wellness sort of IMF type programs versus that one. So that one's not even listed in there as a description. But if you're creative using the internet, there's you can certainly I guess kind of mentioned in other regions they are available. There are information available too, especially over in Europe where they sell actual standalone medical edition, which is not available in our region right now.
Yeah, I mean, good or bad, right or wrong, whatever, we have regulatory systems, right? And for the most part, they do a great job of protecting us. And so within that regulatory system, Healy needs to maintain compliance. And because we have this, this connection to the FDA, we want to make sure that we're compliant. And like Jake said, there is a medical and a wellness division. The medical has implications for pain and management of such. So you're seeing, here's the thing is, honestly, the programs are the same. It's just that the identification had to be more generic. All right. So look at the pictures. That might give you a clue because they haven't changed. I mean, there's a little lightning bolt into the head. It looks like a head. Maybe that's something to do with some pain there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying. There's some discomfort there.
Yeah.
All right. So Jan's saying, love the change time for the Tech Tip Tuesday today. The first time that you can be here. Well, welcome, Jan. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, first time watching it live. So that's great. Yeah, this time, works better for some people, I'm sure, and other people no, but it's great that, this change time works out well for you this week. And of course, we always have, 10 to 20 times more people actually watching the recordings after the fact as well, because it's usually more convenient for them too. But anytime we can have anybody join live for the first time or at all, we love it, because the content comes from you all. the questions that you ask, which then helps out everybody else later on when we answer them and put that recording up there, and people can then reference it later too.
Yeah, look at what we've done in the past there too, Jake, is that we see a lot of trending questions or groupings, questions around specific content. And so like you said, hey, let's do a Healy for Beginners and Beyond that kind of does this umbrella around the frequently asked questions. So where's that come from? Well, it comes from here and some of the other places that, customer service is getting questions. Yeah. So this is useful I think for the whole field. Okay. Let's see what else we got. There is yeah, okay. One about if my HealAdvisor is totally off on the natural cycle, can it be corrected? Yeah. We've experienced that because we just went into the new spring solstice, right? The new cycle.
Yeah.
We've had a bit of this.
Yeah, it's something that, we want to be able to make it a little bit more user friendly going forward. And, the app developers have certainly heard the feedback, and, we'll definitely look at ways they can make that a little bit easier to navigate. If, for instance, you skip too far, if you have to delete and reinstall the app to kind of get back to where you were. No sort of timeline on that, but they are aware of it and are trying to figure something out that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm. It's just like there has always been a desire to be able to run the analysis and vibrate those frequencies into a person without holding the phone, the smart device, hostage by being connected in real time. Like you couldn't do anything with the phone while you were running something from the HealAdvisor Analyse, because it was a 1-to-1 ratio connection between the Healy quantum sensor and the software. And so some of the things on this beta version is that you're able to run other things on your smart device while you're also doing an analyze function. So you'll see it's coming up. All right. So Lori asks, can I ask a question here? Yes, this is why we're here for you. Please ask your question. And so the question is, this is a request for somewhat of an in-depth dive for those of us who want to understand the relationship and science behind the large offerings Healy has with different program groups and devices. So she says that we do get asked and is no longer enough to just point to user guide to explain any of this. Hoping you can help here or arrange for this topic on an upcoming webinar meeting. So, deep dives, I've done many. We've done some right here on Tech Tip Tuesday, deep dives. And if we want to go to 10,000 feet and look at the landscape of what Healy means and is or does or is for, that is quantum entanglement. It literally is quantum entanglement. So energy, and Nikola Tesla said this 100 years ago. If you want to understand this force that we're in, and think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. If we want to understand the depth of connection and healing, well, we need to look at it from a different perspective. Everything is energy. So if we want to deep dive into things, break it down to the fundamental. I like to level the playing field. As an engineer, I create principles around things. I think that's important so that we can apply it anywhere in our life. Right? If you understand a principle around Healy, you can apply it anywhere in your life. You don't need to be a scientist. You just need to know certain principles, and quantum entanglement is one of those. Healy works on the electron field. How many of you guys even consider or ponder electron field or molecular level of information? How many? Not too many. No, normally we're just within the three-dimensional nuts and bolts of our life, right? We're just plunging along. We're maintaining the body through nutrition, through fitness, through our work and the value we do, contributions to the world, and the compensation plans that we're in. But do we look at all that from an electron field, from the molecular energetic field? This is where we are now. We have moved beyond Newtonian principle of cause and effect to quantum law of causing an effect. And Healy interfaces with that. This is the amazing part of the science of Healy. So are there studies? Some. There's great information around quantum entanglement. Is it naming Healy specifically? No. But Marcus and the corporate team, the science team, is doing a lot of studies. We have tons of information and studies around microcurrent and the benefit to the human body that goes back to the early 1900s. This is a reason why Healy uses microcurrent. Now, when it comes to the magnetic conversion of that microcurrent from the coil to magnetics, there's less information, but there's more being built. Okay. So where Healy's interfacing with you as a human body is in that electron field. And when we're talking about the HealAdvisor Analyse app, or the blue app, the blue dot, now we're getting into what used to be considered pseudoscience. Not anymore. Not anymore. We've made more advancements in the last 10 years than we have in the last 100. So understand that this is on the electron field, and the way that this little hardware interfaces with that field from the most basic standpoint is through essentially a noise generator. You know, it's a system of kind of a random generation access. Consciousness influences digital technology. Consciousness does. Why? Because consciousness influences the electron field. Your thoughts become things, become tangible, three-dimensional matter, which is your body you're orbiting in. But even deeper than that, we can actually intentionally interface with this field. And Healy is bridging that gap. That's exactly that's what I like to say. My one sentence elevator pitch is that Healy is the bridge between the quantum field of information and the biological and physical fields of matter. And it does that with through the electron field. Okay.
Yeah, but this definitely will make a note of this, and there's a lot in there as far as the wanting to be able to explain all the differences. And yeah, there's a lot of different terms, frequency modulated, microcurrent, quantum potential frequency, frequency specific microcurrent, quantum analyzed frequency, quantum potential magnetic fields. Yeah, there is a lot there. And that is our job here is to explain all these terms in as easy to understand ways as possible. And I will say that there's a lot of new content coming to Academy related to some of these topics, and also on the new Resonance podcast, which was just launched last month. But there is some plans already to talk some of these terms and frequency terms are on the schedule to be discussed as well during that podcast. Not necessarily all on the next one, but as we go here throughout the year to help people understand the differences between these.
Right. Okay. So Jen says, what is it about the Atmosphere programs that is different from the other MagHealy programs that make its suggested runtime indefinite versus time limited? So think about its target. An Atmosphere program is designed for an environment, right? A specific program, like for something to do with water, is designed for a specific target. And so it's going to have an entity assigned to it, or something that has to do with the target of your body. It has an entity assigned to it. Environment is kind of an entity, but it encompasses more matter, more form. So you blanket. So environment in epigenetics, it's known fact that environment signals the gene. So if we are working with the environment and holding a specific frequency around the environment, we can signal certain expressions within the body. And you can do that infinitely, because still your consciousness edits environmental influence. Your senses edit, and it may not make any effect at all if you choose it not to. So when it's running an infinite time, like for instance, atmosphere and sleep and those kind of things, you're going to sleep for a certain period of time. Then you can make an infinite influence magnetically. So this is why Healy puts these suggestions on there, is so that because of the entity it's addressing, you individually, water, or the environment. All right. That may raise some more questions, but
it did raise another question. So, which is a great question though. So based on that answer, question is, why does the MagHealy have to be placed on the body per instructions in the app? And is Ken, the question before was specifically about the atmosphere programs, which are meant to influence the environment, and of course the infinity runtime versus all the other ones. Well, classical water is meant to specifically inform water with quantum analyzed frequencies. So you're really talking about the classic and McMakin programs as far as the ones that are meant to be, the MagHealy is actually placed on your body, and those are for specific, there's a specific time limit for those too as well. So those have this whole series where it's meant to be placed on the body. It's not meant to be, you're not supposed to run the McMakin program and have it on the table, a couple feet away and benefit everybody else. It's a very specific purpose. And that's why those are meant to be placed on a specific part of the body. Like sometimes the McMakin programs, you might have it on a specific area of the body, a joint or some of that kind of thing, back, upper thorax as well, because they are for a specific purpose within your own body, not just the environment in general.
Mm-hmm. And the proximity of the hardware dictates the epicenter of the emission. The epicenter, meaning it's strongest right where the device is, and then it emanates outwardly. So it makes sense to try to put the strongest signal right where the application is designed to address, right? So if it's addressing a joint, here's the one that I need to address. It's best it's not over there at the neighbor's house. You want it right there. That's the epicenter. That's the strongest. No different than if we rub an ointment on a joint or location, we're going to put it right on it, as opposed to if we have a sore elbow, we're not going to put the ointment on the knee, right? So it's application based. The strongest, or the epicenter of the magnetic transmission, is right at the device itself, and then it emanates outwardly. And no matter how far it goes, it's the frequencies are still present. It's just the amplitude of them goes down the further away it gets from the transmitter, right? So put the strength right there where it belongs. Okay. Let's see. There's a question here. One of your recordings talked about scanning through all the Healy programs. When it pulls up the top 5, does the Healy run all the aspects of each of the programs? So when you're in the blue app, the HealAdvisor Analyse, and you're doing analytics, and you've chosen a database. Now, when you're talking about all Healy programs, that's a database. Or if you're looking at each one individual program page, that's also a database. So those are all listed within the resources of your scan. So when you choose a database, and the database is called All Healy Programs, then that is encompassing all Healy programs, all the pages and all the programs within the pages. Okay, all the microcurrent ones, just the microcurrent ones that Healy designed. It's not all of the gym elixirs and all the Schistler's salts. It's none of that. It's just the All Healy programs. And there's what, over 300 now, Jake? I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and those are all contained on individual pages by subject matter, by purpose. So when you do that scan, it nets you 5 pages. And on those 5 pages are up to 12 programs per page. So do the math. It's possible 60 different programs. Now, each one of those programs, okay, each one of those programs has a resource pool in which you run it on yourself. Let's just pick one, like say, you know, the fitness page showed up on your scan, and on the fitness page, there's, you know, 7 programs, and each one of those programs, like the muscle program, has a resource pool of up to hundreds of frequencies designed to just for just the host that's being attached, right? That are known to advocate for muscle harmony, right? So when you're running those 5 pages, and there's again up to 12 programs per page, up to 60 programs, and each of those 60 programs has a resource pool, it's running the collection of all of that. The collection of all that could be, that's thousands of frequencies. Okay. So you may want to take each one of those 5 pages and then scan each page individually as a database to narrow it down to the top 5 programs on each page, right? And then run those 5 individually. This just refines the data, refines the alignment protocol. Okay. Because when you go to some therapist and you say, you know, I'm unhappy, and they say, okay, well, let's narrow this down a little bit. You know, why are you unhappy? Well, I got this thorn in my side. Oh, let's go get that thorn out and see if that helps out. Right. But, you know, if you don't narrow it down, right, you're not going to know. Make sense? Okay. All right. So Lori says, based on electron answer Ken gives, why does MagHealy have to be placed on body per instructions in the app? Okay. So what is a magnetic field? Or what is a magnetic wave? It's energy. It's energy. It's a propagating signal outwardly from a source. Any source. Radio station that's transmitting radio information that you tune in on your car, or a light in your house that's emitting light frequency. All of it is within this spectrum of magnetic energy. Now, there's photonic energy as well, but we're just talking about magnetic energy right now. And it all emanates within an ether. Okay, everything around us, the air we breathe, the body we're in, the chair we're sitting on, everything is energy, and it has a commonality. This commonality is the magnetic field. And so even the transmission coming out of a MagHealy, or the transmission coming out of a Healy, when it's not connected to you physically, the magnetic transmission is still orbiting within this common field, this ether. And when you move an electron from one spot to another within just air, that's an oxygen molecule moving around. And within the molecule, within the molecular structure, there's electrons in the valence band around this electron, or this oxygen molecule. Same thing with magnetic transmission. It's moving electrons from point to point to point to point to point to get from here to here. And if you're in the middle of the here to here, you're getting the magnetic transmissions into the body, and the body is decoding this magnetic wave because your body is water and minerals. It's a walking, talking antenna. And when an electron or a magnetic wave moves through space and it encounters an antenna, aka your body, it propagates information, aka electron flow, into the body. And now you get a current flow, literally a current flow in the body, in the nervous system, and the tissues and the cells and the organs and the water. And it's decoded by this body. The body is the intelligence of the healing. The body is the intelligence of the healing. It's just getting information to improve that healing. And it's done through this magnetic emission from the MagHealy or the Healy. Do you understand? That's the divine system this works with. Hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't, listen to the recording again and see if you can kind of outline. I like to draw pictures myself sometimes. When someone's talking, I'll draw a picture in my mind of this flow chart and how things come together. I just explained the very tiny with it, which is the electron, and how the electron moves from point A to point B within empty space, air, right? It does that through this magnetic field that it orbits in. We're in it all the time. Take a deep breath right now. And then exhale. You just took in trillions of oxygen molecules with trillions and trillions of electrons around those molecules. And then your body converted it in an instant into utilized energy to live. That's each breath. Okay. All right. Just know that's the field in which this magnetic energy is being transmitted, is in this electron field. It's invisible, but highly effective. All right. What else we got, Jake? I don't see any new questions. Do you?
I was just going back to look. I think we're caught up on everything here.
I like it. And by the way, folks, if you're on your computer, on your PC or your laptop, and you see the content, the links and such that are in the chat that are useful to you, then you can save that chat at the end of our call. Down there in the chat box where you would type in your question, there's 3 little dots. You click on those and there's a little more button and it says that save chat. So you click on that, and at the end of the call, you'll get a notice on your screen that says save the chat, and you can save it to your hard drive, your home screen or whatever. And then you have the chat. All right.
We got some good feedback here from Nicolay here. She, downloaded the Healy 2 app. She was having an issue with it looping back to that main menu earlier, and it's working very well now. And she loves the new look. So yeah, that's the reason why we do these calls, to be able to help out some of these types of issues live. I always love to be able to hear stories of us solving it live during the call and having that instant sort of fix.
Yeah, I love that too. I encourage people to come here. Like, I hear this often. I get a ton of calls and messages every day. And so people will talk about a ticket they've put in and they're not getting a solution, this, that, and the other. I say, bring it to the call.
Yeah.
Bring it to the call, because we got Anthony right there. He's sitting right there at his amazing resource of your ticket. And we can open it up and look at it. We can talk about it, right? It's kind of it's a real-time solution. Like you got a live agent right here. I know we've been talking about this for years. People asking, can we have an 800 number, a toll-free number we can call in? Well, that's a tough one. It's not that it's impossible, but it's not here yet. Well, here you are, live and in person. You could have your 800 call right now. And we have done that too. The customer service agents that have been here have looked at a ticket number, solved it in real time. All right. And by the way, there is a Healy for Beginners and Beyond that unpacks that new Healy 2 app a lot to show its function and all that, because it'll look a little different, and of course people change is like, ooh, scary, different. But take a look at that Healy for Beginners and Beyond, and you'll see there's some great stuff in there.
Yep. And I want to I know we have about 10 minutes left. I know there's another question that came in, but before we do that, I just want to share my screen again. And this is, we got some questions about where we can find more resources and things like that. So this is YouTube. This is actually, I'm on not the Healy World America's YouTube channel right now. I'm on the Healy World official And this is where you'll see, if you go to Healy World Official, there's a ton of content here as well, but this is specifically where the newest series of videos related to Healy Horizon and then also the Resonance podcast are available here on this page. And there's actually the next one. The reason why I wanted to point this out is this coming Monday, next week on the 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, the next episode of Healy Horizon discussing holistic well-being and vitality. So at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Monday, come to this YouTube page, go to the Healy World Official, click this live section here at the top, and you'll be able to watch it live as it's happening. And if for some reason you missed it live, you can also watch the recording. You'll see here we have episode 1, 2, and 3 that are available here. And then, as I mentioned before as well, the fourth episode of the Resonance podcast was available here too. And the next one, I forget when it is, it's later this month, but the next episode of Resonance podcast would be streaming live here too. And then, of course, while you're there, make sure if you haven't already, go to Healy World Americas and make sure you subscribe to our channel here. And this is where we put all the recordings of Tech Tip Tuesday, What's Up Wednesday, Frequencies and Friends, Healy for Beginners and Beyond. And all of our calls are all hyperlinked. So this is the one we referred to earlier. Last week's Healy for Beginners and Beyond, we did the preview of the new HealAdvisor Analyse 2 app that's coming soon, and the new Healy Academy. If you click on Show More in the description, you'll see all the different sections that we went over are hyperlinked, and you can just click directly on them. And it'll take you right to that chapter in the video. So, yeah, great resource for everybody.
I love that categorization process right there. That those hyperlinks are phenomenal. So, I mean, just look at the content right there. You read that little blurb right there. It says info box or pop-ups. There you go. Click on that. You know, if you're looking for Aura module, click on that. Whatever it is you want to know. Or like I always say, you know what? Grab a bag of popcorn and binge watch the whole thing. Whatever. It's interesting how you know, just watching or just attending some of these, you don't ever know what you learn. There's a lot. I spent hours, countless hours on my own experiments, but also tuning in to everything I can get my hands on. And so here I am over 3 years later. Okay. A few minutes left here. Let's see, what is McMakin asking here is, okay. What is it Ken was talking about just now is Healy Official through Healy Academy. No, Healy Academy is all in itself. The Healy Official Facebook page is what Jake was talking about. That's the Healy Official Facebook page. We also have Healy America's Facebook page. So sometimes these live events, if you're not familiar with Facebook, then, you know, again, I know that's another platform we use. Healy's trying to use as many platforms as people are using, and that's pretty diverse. But Facebook is a big one. We can create big groups. Telegram is another big one. We can create big groups. Telegram is where hopefully you guys are plugged into to find these calls, because we post all that stuff there. It's called the Team Healy USA Telegram group. If you didn't get here today based on that, which you probably did because the new time was posted there, but if you didn't, then go ahead and join that group. It's an open group for people, and that's where we post all these times and these calls. But the live ones that are done on Facebook, that's a Facebook platform. You need to be a member. You have to have a Facebook account, and you need to join the groups, and then you'll get the notifications. YouTube is another platform Jake was talking about, where we put all these recordings on YouTube, which is the Healy America's YouTube page. So that's another space where he was just demonstrating for those hyperlinks.
Yeah, what I was showing was the YouTube page, and how there's a Healy World Official, which is the global, basically global page for Healy World, and then there's we have our own Healy World Americas one where we put the recordings of these types of calls.
And it's important to plug into your demographic because things are a little bit different. They do look a little bit different in Australia or Asia than they do in the US. And you know, our culture is a bit different. So, you know, if you want to plug into that, there's nothing wrong with plugging into all of them. It's just, you know, what's your bandwidth?
Yeah.
I like to say, what's your bandwidth? You know, if you're on all of it, that's a lot, which, hey, rock on. Like I said, binge watch everything. You never know what you're going to learn. I mean, how many of you guys are book readers? And I promise you, you probably do not recite the entire book, but you take content from the story and it becomes your own. So every one of these episodes, you may take content from our story today and make some new information of your own. So that's the blessings.
Yeah.
All right. Are we caught up?
Yeah, well, there's a question that Anthony's been going back and forth with Aki on this one question here related to, it says if we were to download the Healy 2 app to another device, will the data be lost that has been saved for the client? So the Healy 2 app is the one above Ken's, you know, shoulder. Yeah, that one, as Anthony put into the chat here, that one doesn't store any data on clients. But the Analyze app, which was referring to here, the Analyze app, if you have a bunch of clients saved on your in the Analyze app, that's all saved to your cloud account. If you were to then install the Analyze app, say you have an iPhone and you want to install the Analyze app on an iPad too, you can do that. And then when you log into that iPad for the first time, it's going to ask for, it used to be a master key. Now it's going to ask for a 6-digit code. So it's going to email a 6-digit code to the email address on file for your account. You take that 6-digit code, put it into the new device that you just installed the app on, and it's going to pull all of your client data down onto that new device. So you'll have it there. So it doesn't get lost. But the key point here is that if you don't have automatic sync checked on there, you gotta make sure before you do this process that you do a full sync in the Analyze app on your original device. Make sure it's fully synced to the cloud. All your client information is there. Then do this installation process on the new device. And then when it does, at that time, all the information will be updated in the cloud and will be available on your new device as well.
Yeah. It's kind of one of these sequence relevant ways of being, because if you're on device A, smart device A, the phone, tablet, whatever, you're on smart device A and you're doing analysis and you're doing entering clients on this advisor app, the blue one right here on the advisor app. That content is only on the app until you update or until you synchronize. Okay, it's only on the app, which is where? On your smart device. All right, not in the Healy hardware. It's just on your smart device. When you do a synchronization, then that content goes to your Healy cloud. Okay, then if you want device B, and you open the app and you want to get to that client that you generated on device A, it's not on device B, not yet, only because you haven't synchronized device B with your cloud account. So they can pull that new information from the work you did on device A from the cloud down to device B, right? When I'm talking about devices, I'm talking about smart devices, phones, tablets, whatever. Pulls it down to device B, and then you can do whatever you want with that. Now the clients are there and they're synchronized between device A and B, but it's the cloud that is the pinnacle of the pyramid that allows that transfer. All right. All right, guys. Our hour is up already. What a party. We had a good time. I had a good time. How about you, Jake?
I had a great time. Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, hey, thanks for being here. Big loves to you all. We'll see you again next week. Don't forget, tomorrow is our What's Up Wednesday call. Again, go back to the Healy, the Team Healy USA Telegram page to look at that. What else we got, Jake?
I think that's it. You know, again, Healy Horizon on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then catch us next week for Tech Tip Tuesday and What's Up Wednesday. So actually, well, tomorrow, yeah, What's Up Wednesday, but
Tomorrow, What's Up Wednesday. Yeah, next week we'll be back to Tech Tip Tuesdays regular time at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, the recordings will be available on the YouTube page. This one will be available on the YouTube page a little while. Jake's team is amazing. They get this stuff all put together and slammed up there, and man, whew, there we go. Share it. So if this was valuable to you, please invite a friend next week, or let them know about the recordings, and let's make this a big community of knowledge, right? All right, you guys. Thanks, Jake. See you guys later.